All right, welcome back to the Mako update show. I guess we've been corrected on this being a podcast. I think someone referred to this as a vlog, and
Whatever that is.
yeah, it's about the least sexiest thing I've ever heard of. A vlog, which I guess is short for video blog, but I'm not blogging. We're updating. This is a show. It's not on your iPod, so it's not a podcast.
Not yet.
Right, not yet. All right. So to get right into it, today we are going to talk about an exciting launch of a new program. We're looking at getting strong. I think that's something that we focus on a gym is getting strong, but I know we've had some interest in people focusing on getting big and getting stronger. Aaron, so what is this program?
Yeah, the powerlifting program. So for those of you guys who have been in the gym, you guys have done all of these movements, right? Powerlifting itself, and as a sport, is just the three lifts of the squat, bench, and the deadlift. So, putting together just a really well structured strength program to improve strength in those three lifts, but just generally strength across the board.
So heavy pressing, heavy squatting, heavy deadlifting, heavy upper body pulling, right, which is sometimes over or underlooked, I guess, and most people's strength and conditioning. Not saying that at the high level it is, but sometimes not looked at. What do you think? Like, what's the goal of this program for someone who's looking to join it?
Yeah, I think the goal of the program is to really take the person who wants to focus on just getting stronger, and give them an outlet to do that. It's going to be really focused around on giving people strength, and that can transfer over to whatever else it is that they're doing with their training, whether that be taking it back to more of a CrossFit setting, like my personal experience, why I powerlifted to get stronger for weightlifting, or really just no matter what. It could just be a good change of pace in your training to focus on strength for part of the year too.
Yeah. When it comes to having that focus and saying we're calling this the powerlifting program, but we're gonna put our own spin on what we believe. Aaron and I will be co-writing this, and so we'll be doing this together, and we'll put on what we believe is still going to be the best thing to get strong, and that means, we don't want to sacrifice, aesthetic goals or body weight goals just to get strong. Because if the goal is to get strong, like really strong, right? You're just gonna eat your face off. You're gonna train. You're gonna get as fat, and but really build muscle and get strong. But it isn't necessarily the healthiest thing. So I think that how are we gonna what is our goal as far as how are we gonna kind of keep that health in mind too?
Yeah, no, definitely. No matter what program we're talking about, none of us are really competing at an elite level, trying to really push the envelope, and we're obviously going to keep that longevity piece involved. So, right away, there is going to be a pretty heavy emphasis on the accessory work and just the bodybuilding side. You're going to look good after doing it. You're going to get nice and swollen and look really good. But just all the other stuff that we're going to be throwing in with conditioning and stuff, it really is going to be a very well-rounded strength and conditioning program that'll include kind of every aspect of that. So we'll be focusing on the actual movements and pushing the amount of weight and the intensity that we can hold in a squat, bench, a deadlift, whatever variation of those lifts we're looking at, but also looking at just putting on some good lean muscle mass, looking good, and having that kind of aesthetic piece with it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it myself. I've trained like this a bunch of times, and I never, and I do truly keep conditioning in there and placing it, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to bringing to the table as far as helping program for this thing, is that conditioning piece. But something else that is super underlooked, if you're someone who really struggles with gymnastics, pulling. I remember, I went through a bodybuilding phase that was very heavy, on volume and just freaking banded pull-ups. It was rows, all of this stuff, and I came off and I hit 5 unbroken butterfly pull-ups, without doing any butterfly pull-ups for 5 or 6 weeks. Now I had the skill that was kind of the base of that gymnastics, but at the same time, if you have that kipping pull-up, you have those things, you are, and you're still working on those things too, you're going to be able to see that transfer over And I think that's something that's really exciting. Is like get strong so you can even handle your body weight.
Yeah, I think the that side to this program is going to be beneficial to everybody. Whether you're the person who's, hey, I don't even have my first strict pull up. We're going to be doing a lot of GPP and accessory work, pulling, pressing, and a bunch of different planes of motion, getting you just strong in all the little areas maybe we don't get a hit in the classes consistently. That's eventually going to carry over to like your ability to pull your body weight over the bar for a pull up. I think that person's going to get benefit, but then the person who is just like, I need more work capacity, we're really going to push that side too. So you can affect both groups with that.
Yeah, focusing on like one day we're going to be pushing that weight, slinging that weight, pushing that intensity, and then we're going to be pushing that volume and that speed on another day, and kind of mixing it up.
Yeah. So kind of more like specifics on how like a week's going to be laid out. I am going to look at writing it, and we're going to look at writing it kind of in that similar to a West Side 4-day conjugate split. If you don't know what that means, it means that you're doing 4 days of lifting a week. 2 of those days you are going to be max effort. You're maxing some lift out, whether that's a true 1 rep max or a rep max, whatever exercise that we're working for the day. You're doing that, to failure, basically.
Right.
As heavy as you can go safely and effectively moving the bar. So you're looking at just, max strength, and then, an upper and a lower day. And then the back half of the week, you have, that higher volume speed day where it's not so much worried about the weight on the bar, but how fast can you move it, how much volume and work can you get into it, a very small condensed window. So it's that's actually in itself a little bit of a conditioning day where you're getting a lot of work done in a very short window, really getting a dense block of training.
Yeah, I've been like a couple weeks ahead and playing around with like a base block of this program, so we can obviously talk about it and tweak things we like, what we don't like, and I've been smoked, and I haven't been like doing a ton of volume. The intensity's been there, the speed's been there, or I guess like the density's been there more so than like the absolute volume, which has kind of really worn me out. That's what I really like. I think what's gonna be cool about this too is that like we're gonna be able to do that, take that like our experience with like a conjugate type program, and even like linear type programs, and really combine it to have something like we said, like this isn't. We're not trying to push somebody to necessarily like compete in powerlifting. If that's something that someone ends up wanting to do, then we would talk about that and discuss that down the road.
Yep.
But the big focus here is like, learning how to press well and how to pull well and getting that volume in. And honestly, like getting those reps in and just learning the movement. Like we do want, the focus is going to be that like moving well before you move heavy.
Oh yeah. For sure.
And making sure that that's what you're doing. And range of motion and time under tension is super important. And so, if you're someone who's like, man, I like to just like, I want to kind of bro out a little bit, or whatever the female version of bro out is.
I think it's still bro out.
Yeah, it's still bro out. Yeah. But throw it on. I mean, everybody, people just want to, lift it. And so here would be another thing, right? And this is for the ladies. I mean, are they going to get bulky?
No. I think we joke about that all the time. Like, I literally heard somebody talking about this last week in the gym, and I laughed, and I was like, I'm still trying to gain size, dude. I've been training for 20 years, and I still can't get big. Yeah. So, are you going to see changes in your body? Absolutely. I mean, if you're training effectively and recovering effectively, and we haven't even touched on like nutrition, right? That plays a huge part into your aesthetics and how you look. But with the bodybuilding work, the volume we're going to be doing, putting us through max loading as well, like you're going to have a good physique, like you're going to look good. Like that's part
exactly
of it.
Like it's that there's difference between like targeted hypertrophy work, and then there's just like the natural hypertrophy work of a sport or a training. And like if you're lifting, you're lifting heavy, you're doing these things, and you're also just eating well, and hopefully, new year, new you, right? Like people are really focusing on that right now. And if you need help, Ginger's there, and she's been doing a really good job. Kyle's taking on people now too, as far as like nutrition, and that might be what some people need, because really like eating is going to be a huge part of this. I know, like I'm going sober. I'm doing no booze till April or the opening of the building, which is kind of what I'm looking at. And I
Is
don't
it-
know
is it
which
whichever
one's-
comes first.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're gonna be about the same. But you know, like for me, like I know alcohol is one of the reasons why like I can't move the needle down when it comes to losing weight, because when you consume alcohol, you know, you're just bringing it off. And you know, I don't want to get too much into nutrition, but we can do a whole podcast segment on that.
Yeah,
But,
I think
yeah.
the way, I mean, are you going to get bulky from doing this program? No.
No.
Yeah,
You
I
can,
mean,
but you can
you
get
could.
big,
You
right?
could.
Eat
You
high,
could.
eat high protein,
If
eat a moderate carbs,
if
low
that's
fat.
your goal, like talk to somebody about that goal, and you know we can help you pack on some weight and do it in the right way to where you're not just getting fluffy around the midsection, like where you're actually putting lean muscle mass in the areas that's going to make a difference and make your physique look the way you want it to look. I mean, yeah, you guys all have the people in the gym that you look at them and you're like, who carved that? Like,
I mean, other than Nate, who's just a naturally lean guy, eating freaking Skittles or whatever.
Yeah, but not everybody's gonna react the same way. But
No.
you can through nutrition get that look if you want to a certain extent.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, will you be show ready like Nate? Probably not. Let's be realistic. But honestly, like losing weight and getting to your lean mass, and like the whole thing with like abs and body composition, and you got to be realistic and really understand what and why you want it. Get to somewhere where you're. I think like what I always thought, when I was competing for CrossFit, right? Like, my coach, when I was always talking to him about it, and I was like, he's like, why are you eating so little carbs? And I was like, well, I got to stay lean. He's like, but if you're lean and you say you're a little fatter, but you perform better, are you going to be okay with that? And I'm like, yeah, I just care about performance, and
Right.
and so I think that's important, is to really focus around that performance. If you're performing good, you're getting stronger, you're able to push those sets, you're recovering, more than likely, like your body composition is going to find the right way. Now, if you're going to cut,
exactly.
and that's when, if you want to actually do a cut, like a safe cut, then that's where getting professional help is the right way to go.
Yeah, or the opposite. If you're
bulking,
gaining weight too.
Yeah. I know how to do that.
Right. Yeah,
It's yogurt and granola. All right, that's the brick in the mortar of your. That's like anytime you're not eating, that's what you're shoving down your gullet.
Yeah.
At least that's for me.
Yeah, so I mean, no, this isn't gonna get you bulky in itself, but I mean, we're gonna get people strong. Like you're gonna feel confident under a barbell. You're gonna feel confident that your numbers are moving. You're gonna see that with the way that you're gonna be able to test frequently and changing the movement and giving you lots of opportunities to really push the intensity one day every week. Like you're gonna see those strength numbers and your confidence with heavier weights go through the roof.
Yeah. Now, chiseled arms, I think that's a big one. Like, dude, that's one thing that like this kind of training does, is like you just start getting that delt, that cap. It starts the arm kind of gets kind of solid. I mean, it happens every time I train like this, and it happens for everybody. I mean, that's what's so good about it. If that's what you're looking for, then why not take this first whatever. Even if you don't do this forever, if you do it for like 2 to 3 months, like you're gonna have a big strength boost going into the next phase of whatever you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's really the foundation of all that, of everything, right? I mean, it is conditioning, but like strength and having the ability to do that is really important.
Yeah.
Now, that said, so this is something like if athletes, so let's say like athletes are doing the class, right? We do a lot of lifting and stuff in the class. They want to still do class, but they want to do this program as well. How is that going to be navigated?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, I mean, you're looking at, a 4-day-a-week program. Yeah, I think there will be that 5th day that'll be more of like a active recovery day, but, 4 main work days, right? If you're trying to do class on top of that, I wouldn't, you need to have some rest worked in, and you need to know, like, how you're splitting that up. The way that I used to do it, like personal experience, I did 3 and 3. Like I knew I wasn't so worried about, like the max effort upper days, but I did the max effort lower day, or I couldn't do the max effort lower days because of my ankle. So I did just the max effort upper. I did the 2 dynamic days, and then I had 3 days where I was doing CrossFit. So, I was training 5 days a week, doubling up 1 day a week, and able to, still manage that. So I think the best advice for somebody there is probably just to, work with us individually, like where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses. Like if you're trying to bring your squat up, like you're doing the max effort squat day and the dynamic squat day for sure. Right. Yeah, maybe we're having you do that dynamic upper day too, just so you're getting that volume and that work there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then hitting the class 2 or 3 days. I think it's gonna vary depending on the person
If you
and
can
what
hit
their
the
goals
class,
are.
if you hit the class like 1 to 2 to even 3 days,
Yeah.
right? I think you're gonna be good to go because we are gonna write in some conditioning for this stuff. It's gonna be a little bit more power driven. We're actually gonna work on that base, anaerobic, alactic, to lactic threshold, and working on building up strength that's for power sports, but also helps burn fat. It's like that high intensity interval training stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it will, like, from a day structure look pretty similar to a class in a certain
A
extent,
little
where
more
there's
accessory
a
work.
little like a strength piece to start off. That's
Yeah.
your main lift, your squat or your bench. Maybe one other variation in there, some drop sets or something. But then you have a big block of conditioning, GPP type work, and then some finishing accessory work at the end of it. So I mean, anybody who wants to just like have hey, I only want to do one thing, like this is a program itself. It's it's very well rounded. It's going to suit every quality that we try to build from a CrossFit standpoint is still going to be emphasized in this.
Right, and we may put a note like if you're planning on doing class this day, don't do the conditioning.
Right,
like that would be the one thing. It's like, hey, for conditioning, if you're going to do the class Metcon, maybe you don't do the full class. Like I think that's okay too. Like you hit your strength work, and then you're sitting off to the side of a class while they're doing it. They're doing their strength work, and you're just kind of warming up. And then, as long as you let the coach know, like, hey, I'm going to, I just did the powerlifting, and I'm now going to get into this Metcon. Shouldn't be no problem. And now they just get in and they hit the Metcon, as long as, obviously, there's enough room in the class for that person. I think that's going to be good. And another thing, too, is, like, the way that it's really laid out, we've talked about this. Like, I've been experimenting with, like, breaking away from that traditional basically you want that 72-hour to recover. Right. We're going to have 4 days from the lower body days to have that extra conditioning day on Tuesday, where we're riding more of a pure conditioning day on Tuesday, where, if, you hit Tuesday, you're like, hey, I'm just going to do Tuesday class. That's totally fine. So you did Monday powerlifting, you did Tuesday class, maybe Wednesday you did the Wednesday, but then maybe you also want to do class. That's fine. And then you take Thursday off. Right. Now, the good thing is about this kind of training, too, is that it's self-regulating. Like, a max for the day is a max for the day.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're coming in and hitting like a true 1 rep max.
Yeah, you're not PRing every day. I mean, we're going to try to write this to where, we really focus on building the base and the accumulation of volume and of the movements to really learn the movements and keep it pretty straightforward. I mean, if anyone is familiar out there with the conjugate stuff and the accommodating resistance, like we're going to get to that stuff. But I think our goal is more to get people there really well with, doing some volume and focusing on the technique.
Yeah, I've already been programming some of that stuff for a few people with like the bands and the chains, and it'll show up every now and then, but it's not going to be the emphasis. Like that's not what conjugate really is, guys. It's really not.
Yeah.
It's part of it. But when you're, just getting into it, we can get a lot out of just hitting.
Yeah, like how strong are you? You know what I mean? Like if you're back squatting double your body weight, like okay, I think accommodating resistance is probably going to help you.
Right.
If you're not back squatting double your body weight, it's probably not needed. If you're not bench pressing body weight and a half, you probably don't need to bench press that. If you're not strict pressing your body weight, things like that. And those are what I would say like good benchmarks for anyone to really aim for. And our goal again with this program is to get there in a healthy way, and I think that's really important to emphasize. If you're looking at you're like, hey, I really want to get strong, I want to have fun, I want to keep it, I want to have it structured, but also keep it pretty fresh and have people to train with, and like that's what the goal of this is.
Yeah, and I think right now, in terms of like, hey, like is the question, and like right off the top of my head, I'm like, dude, is there a class? Like people are going to be asking like when we're doing this. It's going to run pretty similar to the way the Barbell Club's running right now for the weightlifting side of things, where there will be that programming. I'm going to have those dedicated hours, the same dedicated hours that I'm there for weightlifting, to help you guys get set up, to make sure that you guys have, if you have questions on programming, if there's a big enough interest in a big enough group training together, like absolutely train together. Like we'll get something a little more structured and formal where
I plan on doing stuff during the middle of the day. Like now I'm coming in and training around 10, between 10 and noon, and sometimes from 2 or 1 to 3. Like that's kind of like my target window is in that time. So I'll be in there too. Like I'll be in there to answer questions. This stuff will be in True Coach, which makes it super easy too.
The video tutorials,
so we'll have the video tutorial. You guys get to see it. You get to film it and submit the film, and then we can look it over. And you can get that feedback. I think the big thing is like that, we are going to try to create more of a culture around it. And the culture is going to be, obviously, again, like we're here to learn these movements, and then we're here to push hard with whatever intensity we can within that given day. And I think that's important, is like training hard is more important than training heavy. Like, train hard, whatever that means. Push sets to failure, make it burn, make it hurt, but like stay safe and keep it looking good.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's I couldn't have said that better. I mean, that was exactly like the culture of the group that I trained with before, and you get a lot out of it when everybody's training that way. It's really makes it enjoyable to go through that.
Yeah,
it's the same. Same with
I mean, you're getting to max out roughly, and again, max out's gonna be rough because we're gonna say like it's not always a 1 rep, not always a 2 rep. I mean, we're gonna do all kinds of rep schemes, and even it could be a rep max, So, but maxing out is gonna be pretty consistent. But we're not necessarily gonna be retesting the same stuff as far as schemes all the time. So it should keep you mentally fresh.
Yep.
So by the time you do come back around to hitting something, then you can go for it. But just listening to your body and really thinking about, getting the most out of those sets for the day. Like, how do I get the most out of these sets that are set is what the goal is going to be.
Yeah, you want to squeeze as much out of every set that you can. But you don't want to do the detriment of being able to come in and get after it the next day. I mean, that's the longevity piece. Like, you got to know, and that'll be where there'll be that kind of built into the program.
I mean, that's why I've been doing it. I've been now, and I'm in the second week of just kind of playing around with some different stuff, and just trying to get a good feel of like, what do I think I could do? What could I actually do extra? Because I know a lot of you guys are gonna be able to do more than me, like extra wise. And right now, I've literally just been sticking to what I'm riding and doing, the conditioning that I'm riding for this program. Because it's more monostructural driven. I like the bike. I like the rower. I like the ski erg. I think that those things are great implements.
Simple and devastating.
Yeah, simple and devastating. And that you get that muscular endurance piece of it. So, do you have anything else on this program?
I think I'll just leave it as like, if you have questions, just grab one of us. Like, we are going to start this next week.
That's the 11th. So on the 11th.
Monday the 11th. That program will be live. It will be accessible. We'll have it set up to where all you really have to do is come, say, hey, I'm interested in doing that. We'll kind of break everything down and let you know how to get, set up and get everything sent over to you. But it'll work really similar to the Barbell Club. So anybody who's been using TrueCoach for the other programs, it'll work the exact same way that those are all working right now.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited about it. If you guys have any questions, hit us up on it. Come talk to somebody. And again, like, it's what better time to like use than the beginning of the year to really build that base and strength and conditioning. And that's really important to emphasize that we will be doing conditioning as well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, let's get it.
Let's go.